Did you know that a lot of digestive issues are caused by a potential toxin that's in all of the quote healthy foods that scientists have been telling us to eat with a fraudulent food pyramid for the longest time? Warning signs include weight gain and fatigue, digestive discomfort and stiff joints, even skin problems. Well, Dr. Gundry, a world-renowned cardiologist, explains these side effects are often mistaken for normal signs of aging because digestive issues develop usually over a matter of years and sometimes even decades. He says the damage is probably caused by these health foods and it's far from normal. The good news is you can easily help fix the problem from your own home. It's very simple. You just have to know which foods are actually healthy and which contain this hidden potential toxin. So you can go find this yourself at gutcleanseprotocol.com/inspired, because after years of research, Dr. Gundry has decided to release an informative video to the public, free and uninterrupted, showcasing exactly which foods you need to avoid. Go find that video at gutcleanseprotocol.com/inspired or click on the link in the video description below. Hey everybody, welcome to another inspired live stream. I'm John Nolan. Thank you so much for tuning in and being with us. Hey Piper Lynn and everybody, I'm gonna welcome you here in a moment. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. That's the mantra of the inspired live stream, some 300 live streams in or more. Healthy, wealthy, whole, and free. I want you to really let that sink into your spirit. Welcome everybody in the live chat on YouTube, on Rumble. I see Carol, good to see you. Dirtis Danger, Martine from South Africa, good to see you. VB, Kelly, Robin, Allison, J. Frodge, Minerva, good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. All righty. One of my favorite things to do is observe something and then step back and then step back further and observe my own emotional reaction if I have one. Where is it coming from? Why is it here? And then step back even more. And the best view that I could think of is the bird's eye view, where you're really above something. So I have really only been observing world events currently from this perspective, right? There was very little going deep into any rabbit holes, just because these particular rabbit holes I've been down to so many times that I feel like that other perspective is more necessary. And we are currently in a full-blown operation, the likes of which will be later on compared with what happened between 2020 and 2022-23. So Ukraine might have been the first piece, but this is the catalyst. And unfortunately, this campaign is somewhat successful, more than I thought it would be with people. And when I say successful, what I talk about is how do you manipulate people into a certain direction that you want to manipulate them. And what I want to say is the players are different. The players keep changing on the stage of world events. The play itself does never change, never. There's only so many plays in the playbook, and while they're being presented differently, they're the same plays. So that's something we need to understand. Currently, we are seeing, since the beginning of 2020, one theme: create chaos, create conflict, create chaos, and continue to create more of it. Now, the chaos on the outside, which means where the conflict takes place, whether that's in the streets of Seattle, whether that's in Israel or the Ukraine or wherever the conflict is taking place, is only the external image for the inner conflict that all these situations cause in so many people. But what is really the main thing we need to focus on here is that one thing is being hidden from you over and over and over again. We have free will. We have choice. Free will doesn't mean A or B. It means anything you want to choose out of an infinite number of possibilities. But what they're doing right now, and this is they're using the Hegelian dialectic, and that's been their game forever. where they will tell you there are only two choices here. And right now, there seems to be only one choice, and that is war. But eventually, they will see, well, there is a chance for peace. But here are the conditions. This is what needs to happen so peace can happen. And those conditions will include huge impositions on the population, not just there, everywhere, right? But because the conflict is expanding. What I'm saying is they would never dare to tell you there are more than two choices, because what is war and what is peace? Peace is only the absence of war. Peace is in and of itself a non-permanent state that is defined by the absence of war or absence of physical conflict. And these two states are in a constant flux and have been since time immemorial now. So what am I proposing? I am proposing that we remember that we have free will and that choice A and choice B are not the only choices. It's kind of like what this whole system's been based on, right? You have Pepsi or Coke, you have Republican or Democrat, you have left or right, as if these are the only possibilities that exist, but it's not like that. And how are we using our free will? Because I will tell you one thing. I'll tell you the third option that I would prefer. That's not peace and not war. It's something that could be described as harmony. You know, you don't have a world leader. You don't have any president or prime minister that comes in and says, hey, my fellow Italians, my fellow Americans, we want to support you and inspire you to start a movement to sovereignize this nation. And we want to encourage you to become a sovereign family again. We want to encourage you to become physically, spiritually, psychologically independent. Of course, they don't say that. They could, but they're not. The trap that they're setting right now is to tighten the screw so much and make it so painful, because this conflict, of course, is going to have not just physical repercussions. It's going to have economical repercussions that are enormous, right? And when that kicks in more and more and more, which has been kicking in for people, what happens? The suffering goes up, the poverty goes up, hunger goes up, and that creates all the other bullshit, the violence, the conflicts, and everything among people. That's, of course, exactly what is wanted, because we're very, very close now in their timeline to this stage where they will have to introduce a final solution to end all wars, right? The war to end all wars. This is what we're in. And this solution will be the proposed ending of any kind of sovereignty and freedom in the name of eternal peace, because war won't be possible anymore in that scenario. You know what that is. We've talked about this. You can go and look it up, and you can go and look up what the wet dreams of the technocrats are, what they're suggesting in terms of singularity, complete implementation of AI into the biology, all of that. It's common knowledge now. It wasn't 5 years ago, but it is common knowledge, and there's more than enough information. You know what the WF is dreaming about. You know what the UN is dreaming about. You know what these players are dreaming about. You know what they are bringing forward as a solution. And this is the moment where we have to finally realize that there are choices beyond those that we have been presented with. But here is the general outlook of the populations is, oh my God, they're fixated on the image that's on the stage in front of them. And then they're looking at the two players. There's always two players, the two opposing parties. And for a few years, you feel attracted to that party. And then that goes bad, and you switch over to the other one. And then you switch over to this party. And it doesn't matter whether there's 2 parties or 10 parties in your country. There's only 2 directions, and really only one direction, right? But they have to give you the appearance of choice. But is it choice when free will is not really included? And what I mean by that is these powers know that you have to ultimately agree to anything. You can't be really forced. You can be manipulated, you can be deceived, all of that, but you have to have choice. But by presenting you with a limited number of choices and hoping that you will never realize that you have an infinite amount of choices. They're getting you to choose between bad and worse, between unacceptable and horrible, over and over and over and over again. We saw this in the time of in the time of COVID, and what happened when all these quote unquote mandates and then strong suggestions came forth, and people were like, I didn't have a choice. Well, you had more than two choices, but you weren't aware because you didn't step back far enough to realize the game that was being played. Oh, thank you so much, Echoes of Eternity, for that contribution. Really appreciate it. Well, we're not at that stage yet, but soon the suffering will get greater and greater and greater, and then eventually they will say, well, we can have peace. What is peace? The absence of war. I'm saying to you and everyone who dares to listen and dares to think, you can choose far more than just the absence of war. You can choose far more than just surviving. You can choose with your free will anything you please. Now, that might be beneficial or hurt or harmful for you, but that's your choice. And we have to understand that that is the biggest trap, is to lead us constantly into this duality thinking, into this Hegelian dialectic thinking where you have this or that. It's bullshit. It's cross that out. It's not this or that. It's neither. It's neither. The world has been in a state between war and peace forever. What about harmony? What about real freedom? And that means to stop believing in this insane system, in this insane fake reality that's right in front of us playing out. Stop investing in it. When you invest in it emotionally, you attach yourself to one or the other. And you tell yourself that you're on the right side. But you're still on a side. What about real freedom? What about real sovereignty? What about real expansion? I'm not saying there isn't good and bad and all. I'm not saying that's not a reality. What I'm saying is, within the infinite amount of possibilities, we're always only confronted with the choice between two, really. And right now, they want you to wave one flag, and in 2 weeks, they'll want you to wave another flag. Put that on your social media profile picture. Put the if you want to be politically correct, you should have a trans flag, a Ukrainian flag, an Israeli flag, a mask, and all the boosters you've had on your profile picture. If you had that, you would run with the current crowd. But friends, that will change. All those who are heroes now and who are celebrated because they support all these things, guess what? There'll come a day not too far from now when they will be persecuted. That's the eternal game. And we have to realize, we have to awaken from this game, awaken from this charade that's keeping us entrapped, that's keeping us doing the same thing over and over again. And the only thing that allows us to do that is consciousness via free will. Because the free will says, and this is why I do not, I can't vibe with all these religious connotations and absolutes, which is God is in control. Ultimately, sure, if you want to look at it that way, but it's like saying these events that are playing out, this is God's hand in all of it. God is in control of it. There can be only one truth in this. Either God gave, the ultimate creator gave every spirit free will, or he didn't. Both can't exist at the same time. Because if he or she or it, whatever you want to call God, if God, the ultimate creator, gave everyone free will, then God, the ultimate creator, will not interfere in that free will. because it's the greatest contradiction in the history of contradictions to do that. You either accept that free will can go any which way, or you interfere. And by doing that, you have taken away the free will of everyone, not just that particular person, of everyone, right? You've taken away the free will of all spirits. But we have it. Go and sit out. I encourage you, do it somewhere where it's quiet. And tune in. I love doing that close to a body of water, whether it's the ocean, a lake, a stream, a river, doesn't matter, pond. Water helps me do that. Go and tune in and give yourself permission to receive a new thought, a new possibility, a new choice. If you do that, and if you really give yourself permission and open up, it'll come. What does that mean? That means you have free will. You can make new choices. And for everyone who is constantly arguing for their limitations, which I see so often, people cementing themselves into their circumstances by repeating them over and over, and how their circumstances keep them in a limited state, and how they can't do this and can't do that. Well, congratulations. You make a choice every single day to affirm that, reaffirm the state that you're in, the state of limited choices, the state of limited whatever. But you can make a new choice. That is what free will means. You can make a new choice. Is it scary? Might be. Will it change your life? I hope so. Will it mean you will have to step out of your current comfort zone? Hell yeah. It means all of these things. Now that can hold you back forever. And so a lot of people remain exactly in the circumstances they were born into, plus minus a few degrees, but pretty much that's where they stay. Perceptually, within their friend and family, social circle, cultural circle, within their material realm, what they experience in a material sense, within their ability to experience freedom, which in our world is directly connected, by the way, in this physical matrix here, money's part of that. If you want to have more choices, you currently do need money. Now you might want to deny this. You might want to not agree with it. I get that, but that's pretty much how it is. You have more choices when you have more money. It's true. You have less choices when you have less money. You can believe it's not true, and that's your free will. You can do that, but it doesn't make it different, does it? So we have this incredible opportunity because of this, because it is so clear, so visible, and because these conflicts are so omnipresent. Do you really think that we're going to war our way out of this, that we're going to bomb our way out of this, that we're going to just bomb the shit out of one side and then everything's going to be fine? Do you really think that's how things are going to be solved? Because I know it's not going to be solved this way. It never has. And within this game, well, have you ever considered that none of these players that are on the visible stage right now want you to know this thing, that you have absolute free will beyond what they think is good, beyond what they think is right? Free will to make your own choices. They don't want that. Even those who appear very good still want you in a limited state of perception and never really realizing that you have that free will. They want freedom in a very limited sense for you, within the scope of what they think is right, or they think how it should be. So pretty much, it's all going in the same direction. Different flavors, but it's all going in the same direction. And the only party in this whole equation that can actually break out is the individual expression. You and I, we can actually break out. They are in their traps. They're in that stream. They're in that current. They can't get out. That's what they're programmed to do. But you and I, real spirit, can break free from that. And all it takes is a different choice. It starts with a different choice. How much does that cost? How much money does it cost to make a different choice? It'll cost you something. It'll cost you the comfort of what you have known. Because many people live by the devil I know, the hell I know. What does that mean? They say, well, the devil I know is better than anything I don't know. The hell I know how to manage. I know how to live in this limited thing. If I break free from that, I have no certainty whatsoever. And so they remain there. And what is there? There is a prison. It's a prison of their own perception, of their own limitations, of their own walls, thinking that they only have one or two or three choices. When you can make a new choice every single day, multiple ones, and not making one, friends, is making a choice too. Not choosing anything else, that which you know, is a choice too. And there isn't anyone out there who can stop you from choosing something else. As a matter of fact, all the people that have ever inspired you in your life have inspired you because they made different choices. They can't inspire you if they are in the same limited box as you are. We're always inspired by the people that have allowed themselves to break free from these boxes. And they portray something different. They portray more possibility or new possibility or different possibility, but they portray something that we haven't lived yet, or we wouldn't be inspired. We're not inspired by something that's even in our perception smaller than us. We're not inspired by something that has more limits than we do. We're inspired by that which has less limits or is unlimited. Isn't it so? So what is keeping us from choosing harmony within ourselves, of course, because that's the only place we can choose harmony? What keeps us from rooting for one warring party over another warring party? I've said this before. If the war comes to your door, well, hell, you're going to have to make a choice for that moment. Sure. Yeah, the war comes to my door. Well, you're going to look at the other end of that barrel. I know that. But before that happens, before it ever gets so far, we can choose something else. We can choose harmony. And we can show up for that every day. And we can choose to overcome our past limitations. We can choose to transcend the limits that we have set for ourselves. I have absolutely no doubt that everyone watching this has the capability to live a more beautiful, more abundant, more expansive, more truthful life. And always, I have no doubt. I do not care what circumstances you're currently in, because there's a person out there for every possible circumstance that has proven that it is possible. It's proven that you can overcome, whether that's simply your perception or your real life experience. It doesn't matter. People have shown this over and over again. Again, the people that inspire you in some way, they show this. I'm not saying become like them. I'm saying become who you really are. And for that, you have to strip and begin tearing down these perceptional walls and finally realize, if you, which I know you were, but if you were created by the prime creator, nothing's the limit. You are unlimited in your nature, by nature. And to experience that, it's freedom. Freedom. Say yes when you mean yes. Say no when you mean no. And do not participate in that which enslaves you, and that which makes you small, and that which makes you entrapped, imprisoned. Let's choose harmony, or choose something else. If that's not your word, that's fine. But don't let yourself be fooled into another round, into another whole chapter of this insane story that we have to play the game. Because if we just simply chose in any significant numbers to just stop playing, not even choose something else, but just stop playing for the moment. It's like, I've said this before, it's like we're on this field, a soccer, football field, doesn't matter. And when the players are on the field, it all feels so real. It's like the field is everything. It's like it's life. It's everything. It's life or death. But then the referee whistles and blows the whistle, and all of a sudden it stops. And you have a moment to realize it's a game. Well, guess what? You can walk off the freaking field. Stop playing. It's a possibility. All right, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for your beautiful comments. Thank you for going with us on this journey. Whether you are watching here on YouTube, on Rumble, on our website, where it's really all the interviews, where they're uncensored, unfiltered, whether you are with us on Locals, inspired.locals.com, where we do the Coffee and Truth live streams, we just want to say thank you. There's such a spiritual expansion right now. It's very powerful to feel, and it's because of you, because of all of us. So thank you for that. Much love, many blessings. We'll be back with you again very, very soon.